which programs have the most pressure on them heading into 2024? I think it's an intriguing question, intriguing debate, and you had some really good programs I thought that you pointed out. But let's get into that. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think Buford has a lot of pressure. It's crazy to think about. Coach Appling took over after serving as the coordinator, leads them to 3 straight titles. They get bumped up to 7A, lose to Walton, and then last year got ousted. What was it, by Grayson?
Yep,
Yeah. So I mean,
quarters.
that's tough. However, Buford, you look at the amount of talent they have on that team. It's not so much that they didn't win a state title. I think they underperformed these last couple seasons where there was offensively, they really didn't have the signature blowouts. Like they didn't look like the typical Buford team. So I think they've got to get um, that special aura about them back. Like they've got to be Buford again and really start pounding their opponents. So there's always pressure on the Buford head coach. And then Carrollton, I think there's a lot of pressure there as well. I think they are going to be my preseason number one. I think they have all the pieces going perfect in the regular season, making it to the finals when Juju was a freshman. That only raised the expectations. Last year, they lost to a super stacked Walton team. Can't really fault them for that. Walton had a perfect game. They scored a touchdown every time they had the ball. But I think it's Carrollton's season to lose. And when you look at the rest of 6A, you lose Milton, and then a lot of these teams, they're not going to be returning their stars like Carrollton is, especially at the quarterback position. Colquitt loses Nye Carr. They lose
Nico Fan.
yeah, Nico Fan as well. Yeah, Nye Carr's the receiver. Douglas County will obviously challenge them, but then Walton lost a lot of pieces. Grayson lost a lot of pieces. They're going to be relying on young guys. I think Carrollton is going to be the team to beat in Class 6A.
Well, there you go. That is Craig's teams under the most pressure heading into 24. I definitely agree with Carrollton. I think when you have a freshman quarterback come in and have that performance and get you to a state championship, and he's already reclassified to 2025, and this is the last year for him, and then you have all the talent coming back. You get a Zealous Hicks, you get a Peyton Zachary, you get a Kamari Farmer, then a Juju, and all this talent that's on the offensive side and the defensive side of the ball. I mean, that pressure is going to rise. Obviously, Joey King's a phenomenal coach for the Carrollton program, but the pressure is going to be on. I mean, this is the year I feel like with going down to 6A, some of those top-notch teams. I mean, it's still be great teams there, but you're not going to have to deal with, what Walton was this past year. You're not going to have to deal with what Grayson was this past year. Grayson's still going to be great, but, it's still going to be kind of to see how their young, talented quarterbacks are going to be to step up. Some key players and key positions are going to have to step up. They are very talented, but it is a lot of pressure on varsity and kind of see what they're able to do. So I agree with Carrollton. Another program I wanted to throw out that has a lot of pressure, I think, it's underrated, but it's one that it's kind of stuck in my head. Um, I'm trying to think. I'm missing the team. Roswell.
Yep.
I think Roswell's another program. They're going to be in such a tough region, right? You got Milton, you got Gainesville, phenomenal coach Chris Pruitt, great offensive coordinator as well. But I think it's a team that you look at, like, can they get to that level? Will they be able to make a deep run? It's going to be tough. Like 5A, I think you could say probably a 3-4 team race right now as it goes into the spring. We'll see what happens. But as you're going to have to contend with Milton and Gainesville, they're both going to be tough. But can Roswell get to the big game? Can they get to a semifinal? Can they get to a championship, right? A lot of young talent coming back. So I think a lot of pressure is on that Roswell program, and they're going to want to, see if they go deep. So I think that's our teams with the most pressure.
Yes, I got one more, but you're right about Roswell. And yeah, they're in that region with Gainesville and Milton. If 5A is a 3-man race, they might all be in that same region. But
No doubt.
I think the Milton Roswell game is going to be incredible. Milton won it pretty well this last year, but it's been a back and forth tight rivalry every single year. It doesn't matter if one team's ranked number one and the other one's not. They're going to show up. It's going to be a good game. But who's going to be the Dylan Williams? Who's going to be the KJ Smith? They're losing a lot of that firepower. I think they're going to be rock solid offensive line, the secondary, but losing
defensive line too.
Yeah,
No Chase Morrison.
that's right.
Yeah.
And then they're going to want to have that run game going as well. But I think the other one, there's a lot of pressure on Houston County. I really think there is. And last year, they had some big wins. They went toe to toe with Lee County to no fault of their own. Isaiah Chroma just went nuts that game. But they had some bad losses last year. The one to Thomas County Central, who shut out a lot of opponents, but 27-0. The offense looked one dimensional, couldn't run the ball, and took a lot of sacks. The Woodward game in the state championship put up just 7 points. They shut down the run game, and then yeah, Houston County is a great quarterback, great receivers that can make plays after the catch. But it was the same thing we saw in the Lee County game. If you're going up against an elite secondary and there's no run game, they're going to be able to stick on the receivers, and throws are going to have to be perfect, and the offensive line is going to have to hold up for a long time to allow them. And so, what teams did when they knew that they didn't have to fear the run, especially if it's a third and long, they're just going to drop back all those guys and bring a creative pass rush and shut you down. So I think Houston County, I think their leading rusher was a senior last year, but they did have a couple underclassmen getting that 500 uh, yard season zone. They did average about 120 rushing yards per game, but they've got to be more balanced. They have an All-American quarterback, 6'5", multi-year starter. They're in probably the toughest region in the state. I'm not just saying that, but they've got to come out. They're going to be playing in Mercedes-Benz. I think it's a big opportunity for them, but there is also